Hey guys, it's the person that edits the podcast. This is the second part of the conversation on the self-subscribed podcast, edited by editor Derek, of course. Hope you all enjoy.
Derapy, Season 3 of Derapy.
This episode of Derapy is brought to you by the one and only editor Derek.
So, how would I have met her otherwise if not on Tinder, which is something that I never really think about. Just for clarification, just to be fair and honest and true, I I went to college at MTSU, which is Middle Tennessee State University. And when I was on Tinder, I was not, in fact, believe it or not, looking for a long-term relationship. I was,
Weird.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I was like 20 years old and I was looking for like
20-year-old
20-year-old
college guy looking for love.
Yeah, no, that was not the case. I was putting my Greek letters in the Tinder bio because I thought that would level me up, you know? When I was in college, I thought I was like a 7-ish.
7.
I was in the 7 range, but I was like, I'm in a fraternity. I'm in relatively good shape. One of these pictures in my Tinder has me with like a fraternity shirt on it. I feel like that bumps me up to like 7.75, maybe 7.8, something like that. On my best day, maybe an 8. But yeah, I got lucky. I was not supposed to find my wife on Tinder. For the first 2 or 3 years we were together, I was telling people that we were just casually dating. And then all of a sudden,
For
like
2 or 3 years.
I know. It's bad. I was a kid. But like 3.5 years maybe into us being in a relationship, I was like, I don't remember exactly what the conversation was, but I just remember saying something along the lines of, this is getting kind of serious, isn't it? And she was like, we've been living together for 2 years.
Oh my God. Derek.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just a young man. But yeah, I don't know how else I would have found her if not for Tinder. So I'm super grateful that I just happened to be on there at the same time that she happened to be on there. And I know this is completely not what we were talking about, and it's super cheesy and it's disgusting. But I never believed in the idea of a soulmate. But
Okay. I
what
actually
are the
don't either.
odds?
I believe in people
What are
that
the
complete your life on Earth. But yeah, but you're right. What are the odds of finding somebody that you're truly compatible with, who you dig, right? You love her.
Yeah, I think it's like incalculable. Like it's not possible to do the math on the odds of us both being on this app at the same time, looking for the same kind of person that we were, being interested in the same things that we were, both coming out of the same type of relationships that we were, and being in the same city that we were on the exact same app at the same time. It's like really ludicrous when you really think about how improbable it is. And the fact that not only did we match at that exactly perfect time, but then we actually, like, it worked. And that's just insane. Like, I don't know what else to call that besides fate or something. I don't think that things weren't supposed to work and we just kept forcing it, because it's never felt that way. It was like always easy, which makes me feel like it was just meant to happen. And it's just hard for somebody to be like, do you feel like you guys are soulmates? I think the word soulmates is gross, but the concept of it feels like applicable to my situation.
It's beautiful. Yes. Yeah, no, completely. And I think that you are correct in saying that. It's like, there's somebody, you found your, and another term for it is twin flame, right? You found somebody who matches you. And I think those people do exist. Like, there's people out there that you have that connection with. And when you meet them, it's like, no, I get you. Your soul and my soul, we understand each other on another level that other people don't understand. And while I truly believe that love is a choice, and you choose to love her every day, which is why people fall out of love, because they choose not to care. They choose not to put forth effort. The same goes for our friendships. People choose not to be friends anymore. Okay. And when it comes to that point, you can't force it. You cannot force someone to love you. You cannot force someone to be your friend. At that point, the relationship is completely voided on both ends. On their end, they don't want to be your friend. And on your side, you're putting forth energy into something that's fake. So
Oof. This is a lot.
it's a lot. It's a lot. And like people say, oh, relationships are so hard. I have to put it. It's not hard. As long as you're putting in effort and you're setting an intention. It's with anything else in your life as a mature adult should do, is setting an intention with something that you do. I don't go into my place of work and say, well, I don't know what to do today. I guess I'm going to half-ass everything. No, I have intentional
We'll just see what
stuff.
happens.
We'll see what happens. I have a lot of things going on. It's whatever. No, I have to set intentions. And the same goes for my relationships. I have intentions. I have intentions for my personal growth. You have everything you do in life should be like, this is what I want to do. This is my plan moving forward, and for people who are completely lost, there's a lot of people who look to God. What am I supposed to be doing? What is my purpose? What is my intention? And I really, truly feel like there's a higher power that directs us, and then we choose whether or not we want to listen. We choose these relationships. We get to choose a lot in our lives. And as a kid, I looked up to my parents. I'm like, they know so many things. Lies. Lies. They didn't know shit. I don't know anything. I'm almost 40 years old, Derek, and I don't know anything. I feel like I should be on chapter 40 of my life's book. And then a lot of days I'm like chapter 1. Like I'm starting over and over and over again. I'm trying to figure this out. And there's a lot of joy in figuring it out. But there's also a lot of heartache. And that's where the wisdom kicks in. It's like, okay, I've been here before. These people don't want to be friends with me. That's okay. I've been here before. I can choose to move on.
It gets easier each time, it feels like. Because the first time I had to letting go of a friend on episode 40 of my show was so much harder than it was on like 230 or something, like a couple weeks ago. I was just like, you guys want to hear something funny? Like the first time, it was like, guys, I've known this person for so long, and this is tough. And now, as a 27-year-old, I'm like, you guys aren't gonna believe this. So I was trying to hang out with this chick like 5 times in a row, and I just woke up today and I was like, this is bullshit. I don't want to do this anymore. It's really awesome. The growth is pretty. It's pretty
good.
dope.
And it's not you not caring about people. It's you letting go, and that's where the real freedom is. And going, I don't need these people. I do not need this in my life. And that in of itself was a huge lesson for me, and the hardest one, because I felt like I was giving up. I was giving up on these people who had a long time ago given up on me. And when I truly look back on my life, nobody ever stays. People come in and out of your life for a season. They're there for a purpose and they leave. I cannot tell you of one single person other than my immediate family members who, we all die at some point, but someone who has been there long term. Nobody ever stays.
That's sad. It's not. It doesn't have to be like that though. There's like I had like a similar realization when I was doing one of those episodes, and I was talking about how when I was in college, I had my fraternity friends, and then when I left college, like those people basically don't exist anymore. There were people that I just played soccer with, and then when I wasn't playing soccer, I never talked to those people. There are people that I drank with, and then if I didn't feel like drinking, I wouldn't see those people. Like you're right. Like there are seasons. There are people that I was best friends with in high school. I had like 8 best friends in high school. I don't talk to any of those people anymore.
No.
Like it's just like a seasonal thing, and except for. Yeah, in a way, there's literally, I can count on one hand how many people that, like, over 10 years, I've been like, that's my friend. I trust them. They're a really good, it's so funny. My wife, as much as I love her more than anyone, we're 7 years in. So, like, we'll see.
It's
I'm
still
just
like
kidding.
a
She's great.
short
I'm
term
gonna be
thing.
with her forever. But like it still feels like it's not that long.
It's
It
not that
feels
long.
so much longer because we live together and I see her every day. But when I actually think about it, compared to the rest of my life, it's been 7 years. You
It's
know,
not that
like
long.
I've known my brother for 27 years.
Right.
I've had this best friend of mine named Matt. I've known him for 21 years now.
Mhm.
So it's like he's got 3 times the time of my own wife. And it's like
He knows
I
you.
had a dog that I loved for longer than twice as long as my wife. And that dog is gone now. But it's like
Yeah.
it's hard to it doesn't feel hard to like stay locked in and love, but you're right, it is a choice, because I would be lying if I said every single day of the last 7 years I've been with my now wife. We've only been married since October of 2022. So there were times early on in our relationship where, even though we were telling each other we love each other every day, sometimes she'd be like, "You wouldn't believe what happened to me at work." And I'm just like, I don't even care. I just don't.
Yeah.
Like, today is one of those days where I am choosing not to really care that much. I don't really have many of those days anymore, but the idea that it's just going to come naturally and you don't have to work to maintain friendships or relationships is just not a real thing. You have to choose to keep doing it.
You do. And there comes a point where you know someone well enough and you can communicate with them, like your wife, and you say, "Hey, you know what? Today, I am a solid 45%. This is the energy that I have. I'm telling you that I'm not putting a lot of effort in. I don't care right now." And they can say, "I got you. I've got you other percent. I've got whatever." Or whatever. Today I'm 99%. I feel great. But as long as you're communicating with each other where you're at, that's the maturity of it. That's a true relationship. That's working with somebody you want to work with because you choose to love that person. They bring value into your life. They support you. They're there when you need them. They are actively participating in your life. So you reciprocate and you're actively participating in their life. But when people decide to not bring value anymore, their season's out. They're done.
Yeah.
I cannot pick up everybody else's lack of percent because I'm tired. I have my own life and my own things going on that I have to worry about first.
That is a great point. Because I've found myself, I literally have to say out loud. This really helps me. The saying it out loud thing, when I feel like I am involved in something that is draining me unnecessarily, I have to tell myself out loud. I'll be like, I have other stuff to do. I have other stuff to focus on. There are other things more important than this. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. It's not gonna happen. Like, I have my mom and my sister have this thing. You cannot go into detail about it. They just don't agree on stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
And because I'm so close with both of them, they both feel like they have to, talk to me about it. And I just got to the point like a couple months ago where I was like, I kind of have my own stuff going on. I just can't really worry about this. This has nothing to do with me. Like, it has something to do with me because I love both of you, but like, I have a whole entire life. I have a whole job. I have 2 of my own cats. I have my own bills. I have my own car. I have my own stuff. It's not that I don't care, but like, I cannot allow myself to keep giving these people, these situations, like, energy. Like, it's literally not my problem.
Nope.
And I can't pretend like it is. No matter how much I get involved with it, I am not going to resolve other people's issues for them. Like, the friends that I used to have, and even the friends that I still have now, sometimes they tell me about their problems, and I'll say, "Do you want help with this? Because if you ask me, I'm here for you.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I'm telling you out loud, I have my own stuff to do."
But that's a great point. And you should say that when people are coming to complain or whatever. Say, "Do you want just you want me to listen, or do you want my advice? Because you have to be a friend, right? You should be empathetic towards people. But do you just want me to listen to you? Are you here to complain, or do you want my help? And most of the time, they just want to complain. They just want somebody to listen to them. And that's great. And I'm so willing to be that person for people, except when I have 99 million other things to do. And
unless I have my own stuff going on.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing too is, sometimes people are just out to complain. They're just whiners. And if you're going around, and I think, who was it? There was somebody's mom. It was a quote I saw on Instagram. If you're telling your problems to more than 2 people, you're not looking for help. You're looking for attention. And if you're out just trying to be an attention whore, I'm not into it. But right? Like if you're out just telling your problems to everybody, what do you expect? You're looking for attention.
Yeah, go start a podcast, loser. That's where I do all my complaining. It's like, why would I call 7 people and complain about the same thing
when I could tell thousands?
I could just complain into a microphone for like 10 minutes, then release it. They're like, you would believe this person's so dumb. Look at this. Somebody look at this. Isn't this dumb? And then I put it on Twitter, and I put it on Snapchat, I put it on Instagram, and I put it on Facebook, and I put it on YouTube, and then I'm just like, that's good. I can let that go. I feel great about that now. And every time somebody asks me, what happened to that person? How was that? I don't even have to go into it. I'm just like, I'll shoot you a link.
There you go.
This is what
happened.
There
you go. And you know what? Like, that's your way of doing it and releasing it. And that's truthfully why I started my show, is because I had so much stuff. I'm like, I just need to say this. And I'm not going to expect any of my friends to sit there and listen to me forever complain. Here's what I have to say. And then you choose whether or not you want to listen. And guess what? Sometimes people want to, and it's really successful. So there's something to be said about that, I guess.
Well, I didn't realize how much nobody cares. This is going to sound really sad, and it's actually not. I promise. I'm not laughing to cope. I'm laughing because it's actually funny.
Mm-hmm.
I realize that nobody cares about my problems.
No, they really don't.
And it's actually kind of freeing because it makes me feel like, oh, nobody cares about what's going on with me. So why do I care so much about what's going on with everyone else? I will literally put out a podcast titled I Almost Died Yesterday. True story. I'll put out a podcast called I Almost Died Yesterday. 20 people listen to it. I talked to like one of my closest friends like a week later, and he's like, yo, are you good? I saw that podcast about you almost dying. I'm like, yeah, did you listen to it? They're like, nah.
No.
What? What? Did you?
No.
What? I've never made a podcast with such a dramatic time. And it's just funny that people will literally see that you're going through something. They'll see you talking about it. Your podcast rhymes with therapy. And they're like, nah, he'll be all right.
Oh, yeah. No, I get it.
It's kind of nice, though. It's kind of like nice in a way that people care about you on like a raw human level. Like if somebody found out I was in the hospital, I know they would care. But if I put out a podcast and they think I'm just complaining about my life, they don't care about me complaining, which in turn means I don't have to care about them complaining.
Correct.
It's nice.
Which is exactly what we talked about in the beginning is, I'm putting out my energy to them. They're putting out my energy to me. If we don't do either, okay, whatever. We just move on with our lives. If people are not expecting me to be there for them 100% of the time, I'm not going to expect them to be there for me 100% of the time. I can't have everyone caring about my problems and I'm not caring about anybody else's. Like, that's a hypocrite type situation, right? So, yeah, if I broadcast my problems and then nobody listens, I'm like, well, screw you guys. But if they did the same thing, would I listen to it? Would I listen to somebody's podcast where they're like, let me complain for 30 minutes? No, probably not.
You know what's so weird? Even though I did therapy, like real therapy, and I found out that the word narcissist has this terribly negative connotation, even though if I'm being totally honest, if there's like a spectrum of narcissism, I'm like leaning more narcissist than 0%. But I'm so full of love and compassion and care for other people that I think it's possible that caring about people and being kind of a narcissist, they're not like mutually exclusive things. I believe that like I'm the most important person in my life, and I think that's okay because like it's my life. But I also really, really, really care about other people. And the reason why I know that is wife or my best friend or my brother had a podcast with 270 episodes, I would listen to every single one of them because I care that much. Not because I want them to get famous, not because I care about the audio quality of their show, but because I just care. And a lot of people don't care that much. And that helps me sleep at night, knowing that I would be willing to do that. And I just think that I think that's just like an important thing to acknowledge. I think that people generally don't give themselves enough credit because they're afraid that it's going to make them look like a narcissist, like they're too self-important, like they love themselves too much. And I'm over that shit, man. Like I love myself, and I think that people should love themselves more, not because like they deserve to have a huge ego. I don't think that I do. I know that sounds crazy. This guy said he's a narcissist and he doesn't have a big ego. Hear me out, okay?
Do it.
I think that you can care so much about yourself and about the things that you're good at and your strengths, and also be like a humble human being. I think it's possible.
Well, and that's
I
the
think it's
difference between being cocky and being confident, right? Is you know who you are, you know what you're capable of, but you also don't broadcast it to everybody saying like, "Oh, I'm literally the best at this." No, I know what I'm good at. You know, I can write down a list of my strengths and things that I'm proud of, but that doesn't mean that I'm rubbing it in people's faces. So, yeah, 100%. And you're right. People should love themselves more and not necessarily in the let's go get our nails done and facials and that like self-love, but the internal where your brain and your heart connect. And a lot of people have a disconnect between those, which I've found in the last 3 years of my life that I was totally disconnected. I hated who I was. My heart and my brain did not align. I did not like things around me. I didn't like myself. And in learning about who I truly am is how I can appreciate and love myself. And I am a very firm believer that loving yourself is also forgiving yourself. And I can look around me at my friends and all their shortcomings and be like, that's fine. You're okay. I forgive you for everything. And then when I do something to myself, I hold grudges against myself. And that's not loving. Yeah. You know, I'm the first person to tear myself down. And that's not loving. That's not being a strong person. So to truly love yourself, you have to forgive yourself.
Ooh, that's deep. I feel like forgiveness is one of the most like underrated traits in a human being. Not just forgiving yourself, but forgiving others as well. I think one of the most important things that I've learned in like the past year, I think I've had more growth in my life and in myself in the past 6 months than I've had in the past 6 years. And I couldn't be happier. I've never been more sure of who I am and confident in the person that I am. But one cool thing about that is the fact that it took me 27 years. I won't claim to know everything about life, but I can say that I know pretty much everything that I need to know about myself. And I think that's really good. I will say that it's really important, if nobody takes anything away from any of this, that one of the best things that you can do is forgive people that are never going to apologize to you about things that they said or did or didn't do. And people that don't even know they did anything wrong and will die thinking that like, well, they were fine. They never even did anything. Like the people that I chose not to be friends with anymore, or ex-girlfriends that I used to have, or literally anybody in my life, parents, grandparents, brother, sister, anybody that said or done anything to me, most of the time, I don't get apologies. And it just doesn't matter to me anymore. I just forgive anyways.
Because truly, you aren't forgiving. No, you can't. You cannot move on and you can't grow as a person. And you should always be growing. I mean, yes, you have things figured about yourself now, but when you're 35, 37, 10 years from now, you won't be the same person you are now. It should be impossible. You should be changing and you should be growing. And for me, forgiveness now is I forgive people because I need it for me. I have to let go.
Sure.
I cannot hold on to that because all it does is fester and grow and create darkness into my heart. And I don't want that. So I forgive and I move on. I do not forget, because if you forget, then you are ultimately forgiving them of everything they've done and wiping their slate clean. If someone has wronged you, you can't forget it because you let them do it to you again and again and again and again. So I'll forgive you. Yeah. I'm not going to forget it. But so we talked. Or
you'll allow somebody else to do those things to you because you're like, I forgive them and I'm just going to let it go and completely forget that it happened. Sometimes your body or your brain naturally does that as like a coping mechanism, and you can't even control that. But if you can, you have to remember it, because when you're in that situation again, you can be like, oh, I remember how to deal with this. Right. And then you can just deal with it.
Exactly. And we all fall into patterns. We know this, right? We all fall back into what we know or what's comfortable, blah. Everyone likes to be complacent in things. And so we fall back into these patterns. And at some point you have to say, no, I forgive. And then I move on and I remember this situation, and it stays from here on out for everyone.
Thank you all so much for tapping into the session of Derapy. Very minimal editing because the conversation, in my opinion, was just super dope. Please check out the links in the description of this podcast episode, whether you're on get it together. Whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get podcasts, please go and subscribe to the Self-Subscribe podcast. Also, obviously, subscribe to the Derapy YouTube channel. Follow us on everything. Give us 5 stars. Leave whatever review you would like. Love the critique. Love the feedback. Love anything. I know that the audio quality is not the best for these specific sessions. That's because I was on the phone. But moving forward, we're not going to have those issues when it comes to other series, when it comes to other interviews. So thank you so much. Also, if you want to support the show, I left some links in the description. If you want to help out the person that is editing this podcast, they would very much appreciate it. Thank you so much again to my dear friend for allowing me onto her show, and also subsequently allowing me to use her show kind of as my show before she's even really getting her version of the show out. I will not apologize for being a great editor. Okay. Love you. Mean it. Enjoy the outro.
So I found a way, and now they weighing in on my art. But I will never let nobody second guess my heart. I'm really sick of all the pageantry, and they don't even have the faculties. Yeah, they trying to teach me what I have to be, but they don't comprehend the packaging. Opening up, fuck my old shit, all of it sucked. Piss on them records, I shit on them records. I thank everybody who saw the potential in me, but I still had to get it inevitably. If I could, I would sit down and conversate with every hater and try to debate them. I know it's subjective, but it's my objective to do it so well that it's not. You can count on me, 1, 2, 3. When you got the vision up in you, why would I give one fuck what they trying to see? How can I make such insensitive shit and be so sensitive? I'm hypocritical, too hypercritical. It can get miserable. I'm up on Twitter and I'm reading into it. And the most pitiful part of the whole thing is I want to tweet that I'm up at the pinnacle. I want to make them remember they didn't know. I want to pound it in their head like Riddick Bowe. I gotta tell you some shit that you didn't know, or I can let it go and just forget it. But if I forget it, then I'll never get it. But now it's all starting to feel unforgettable, you little bitch. Yeah, leveled up. Fuck all that being benevolent. I am the best there never was. Remember, there ain't no timelines when you timeless. Ain't no guidelines when you guideless. Sipping Mai Tais, thinking top 5s, knowing my time isn't timeless. A ticking it. I gotta be.